very surprised community hangout. We're back live in the Phantom Cave studios right now. And I guess last week I did go to Supernova Sydney and it was awesome. It was amazing. And I am going to I am going to show you what I bought from Supernova Sydney. So stay tuned for that. We've got some very different music going on today as we're doing this live stream. Throughout this live stream, it will be happening. And today's music is the summer of 80, the summer of 80, Lofi's 80s vibe, Lofi synth wave music. So if you're able to join us on our community hangout for today, you can do so if you want to, or if you're catching up after this live stream, you can do so as well, and it's going to be amazing. Comment down below what you love to see on Phantom Cave Reviews, because we are going to be putting out some amazing stuff very, very soon. And just as a teaser, one of the things that I'm going to be putting out very, very soon, and I've been working on it, I've been working on it today, yet I still haven't got it done. But I will be releasing a review of a old 1990s Mandrake the Magician comic, and it's going to be awesome. I hope you stay tuned for that, and it will be coming very, very soon on the channel. We also will be having a few more of these live streams probably happening next week. And I'm going to be very, very shortly, I'm going to be reviewing the entire, yes, let me say this right, the entire current series, current saga, three current sagas of the 22nd Phantom Saga that is now being produced and has been published up until 2023. We currently have all the current chapters and parts and whatnot for this saga. So I'm going to be having a jam-packed review of all the current series up until now, and it's going to be awesome. One of the covers that I'm not that impressed with, but I did meet her, and we're going to get to that. I did meet her down at Supernova Sydney, and she was wonderful. She was a very nice person, and that person is Lauren Marshall. Yes, this comic and this cover will be reviewed coming very, very soon to the channel, and stay tuned for that. I'm hoping to be live streaming the comic book review of this entire saga maybe next week. I've got to get my stuff together. I was at Supernova Sydney on Saturday last week. So pretty much last week today, and last week in this time period, I would have been down at Sydney at Supernova Sydney, and it was an amazing experience. I love going to Supernova Sydney, but this year, yes, if you didn't see the photos that I shared either on YouTube, in the community posts, or in the my social media platforms, which if you are not following on our social media, on Instagram we are currently being called Phantom Cave Reviews, and that's the official one. And then we also have a Facebook page which is called Phantom Cave. So it's not the Facebook page is without the reviews part, because that page is pretty much the original Facebook one. So yeah, and it hasn't been changed for it hasn't been changed or added anything. So what was I talking about? So I went to Supernova Sydney, as I said last week. I love going to Supernova Sydney. This year, I dressed up and I cosplayed as Mr. Walker. So if you didn't see those photos about Mr. Walker and self having a good old time down there as Mr. Walker, they are on your social media platforms, and they also are on a community post on YouTube as well. And that the Supernova was just awesome. And then the dinner just topped it all off. And also an extra thing that I didn't even extra thing that was even awesomer. It was going into a Lamborghini dealership. Like, if you're at, like, I'm just going on a little bit over here, so I will get to what I got and bought at Supernova Sydney. The Lamborghini dealership. If you're a country person, like living out in the country, and you're living out in the outback, and you see a Lambo, and you do not get to see Lamborghinis in the country that much. So that was just awesome. And like, I think the Lamborghini that rolled in, as I showed on the sort of review of Supernova Sydney, or like my vlog that I do every year, that was a 2023 STO Lamborghini, and the sound of that was louder of me being in that room than what yous were hearing. It was amazing. Okay, so I mentioned what sort of music we're got on right now. It's just having a brief pause, as always. No, it's still going. Okay, so we're now going to be having a look at some of the books I bought at Supernova Sydney. And comment down below what your favorite book is. I am going to try and some of the new books that I got, like I've got some of the new Shakti comics, and I'm going to try and read them so I can review them, obviously. So I'll leave that until the end, because that one's so special. It's very, very cool. I'll leave those till the end because they are signed comics. So here we go. So one of the first things I'm going to show you is Shakti Comics issue number 6, The Death from the Sky. This I bought at Few Publications booth, and I recorded a video down there of their booth as well. And yeah, it's an amazing book. Like, the quality, like, I think issue 1 or issue 2 of this series, and the quality has just increased. Like, if you were to tell me a couple of years ago that Shakti Comics quality, or Phantom Comics, and the stuff they produce right now got to this, then I would just be blind. My mind would just blow. My mind would just be blowing. It's amazing. Like, I'll show you some of the, because this comic and most of the comics that are getting published in India are all in color, that makes it even better. Like, I love black and white artworks, but I always say I love my black and white artworks and I love my black and white stories, but for color, you have to be able to get the coloring just nice. And it looks to me that they have done so very, very nicely. And that's the back cover for that issue. And now we're going to be moving on to the Phantom, Shakti Comics, the Phantom number 5, Phantom in Mexico. This cover, if you can't see, it's got a bit of a shine to it, but it's also like a textured cover. And it's done by, the cover art is done by Avishek Biswas. So, yeah, amazing. He's the Mandrake Magician artworks that I've been talking about, and the covers he's been doing for that series are just amazing. They're more than amazing, they're fantastical. And that's the back cover of that issue. Okay, so I also, when I was down there, I bought Regal Comics The Phantom number 25. So I got this one. And then they also have a ad for their Christmas issue from 2022 with art done. The cover art was done by Ankit Mitra, who is amazing. And I think this guy that did the cover art for this one is from India. I don't know much about him. So if you know a bit about this, the guy who has done this cover art, comment down below and we will probably learn something today. Okay, so I also picked up the latest, because few publications always sort of when Supernova Sydney comes around and when Supernova and all that stuff comes around, they always tend to release the latest Phantom comic at Supernova Sydney. So I got it. And one of the stories is, it's a T. It's plus the never before. It's the original. I am guessing it's a 68-page comic book. It's issue number 1947. It would have been released in news agencies on Thursday that just went, and it's amazing front and back cover done by Antonio Lemos. I met him at Supernova Sydney, and then I met him at the dinner, and he is amazing. I've met Antonio before, and he's still amazing. I just love his work. So that's the front cover, and that's the back cover. Good old Mr. Walker. That's sort of what I was sort of dressed. That's what my costume was on Saturday. If you saw it, it's awesome. So the story that is published in this is T plus a never before published sequel of the new island of T. Now, I think the island of the original story that went with the T series was originally done by Lee Falk, and I'm guessing Mr. Cy Barry. Yes. So the story T is the 127th daily story by Lee Falk with Cy Barry art. Now, this is published for the first time in colours by Ivan Peterson. And his colours, I've mentioned this before, his colours are amazing. If you wanted something to be coloured professionally, then you would definitely go to Ivan Peterson, because he does fantastic work. And I'm friends with him on Facebook. So yeah, and he also I think last year or this year he sent me a copy of the 2022 Christmas special for Phantomette. So yeah, I've been corrected by good old Seiju Aber before about that's the title for that comic book series, and I make sure that I get that right, because if I don't get that right, then I don't feel that happy about myself getting it wrong. But anyway, it's a mistake, and you obviously learn from it. So that's what I've been doing. There's some of the pages from the issue T that also, as I said, has coloring by Ivan Peterson. And then we have the Fiend and the New Island of T. And I will obviously, with this book, I will review this very, very soon. I will read it, I will review it, and let's move on. And that book also has a new Julie Walker news story, Fury, a color special, and that story is also done by the amazing, fantastical creator, Paul Mason. So, okay, so I also picked up Shakti Comics, The Phantom issue number 7. That recently came out, and I think this new set might be dropping soon. I don't know when that will be happening, but yeah. So in this book we have Then Came Town's LOB, and then we also have the end of the Mexican saga, which I think is a Tony Duplaul story. I will be reading all of those issues because I also have the other issue that goes with that saga that I have in my collection. Okay, we're getting down to the last 2 books, and then we'll have a look at the other stuff and the other very, very special stuff I also took down to show people. Okay, so I bought this sketch cover that was done by Matt Kime, features Mr. Walker, and what I'm going to try and do with this is so that where there's extra space up in the wall, I'm going to try and attach, obviously I'm going to bag and border, but I'm going to try and attach these sketch covers to different spaces in the wall behind me, because that wall, there's a bit of space there, so yeah. If you're just joining us, we're currently having a look at what I bought down at Supernova Sydney, so stay tuned. There will be very, very special things coming to Phantom Cave reviews very, very soon. As I mentioned at the start of this live stream, there will be a review of a 1990s Mandrake the Magician comic coming very, very soon. The review might be coming next week, and fingers crossed, because I have been working on it this week and I have been working on it today. So the last comic again is a sketch cover. I bought this directly from Matt Kime, and it's one of his amazing lino prints. I think we've re-established where we are, and I'm hoping that these technical issues do not happen again. So I think I'll wrap this up. So the other books I have that I got a couple of books signed. That one is done by Jeremy McPherson. I got him to sign that at Supernova. So, and I think in April I found this book, and it's Jamie Johnson's first official Phantom cover. He signed it just there, and yeah. I found that, I think, my country town that I visited, and then I also, on Saturday, I got to meet Glenn Ford for the first time, but I also got to show him this special, very, very special book, because he signed it a fair long while ago, and I shared a picture of this comic this week, and I showed it to him down at Supernova Sydney, and I think he had a look at it, and he went through the pages, he had a look through the pages a bit like this, as you would, and then he's looking at it, and then a couple of seconds later he just says, he looks at me and he says, where did you find this? I said, I found it at a garage sale. Yeah, I found it at a garage sale, and I have been wanting to show you all this comic for so long, and I'm finally being able to show it to you all, and I'm finally able to show it to the guy that actually signed inside the book. It was a momentous occasion. Yes. Woo! So we also have this book that I've been collecting signatures since 2019. It has Jeff Weigel's signature in here. It has heaps of people in here. So we added to this book. Obviously, this book is the journal for the Phantom Journal 80th anniversary edition that was released in 2016, and a part of that 80 years of celebrating the anniversary of the Phantom. And back in those days, 2016, I bought this book at the news agencies. So the news signatures that we got was Lauren Marshall's signature is just there, and she was very, very lovely. And then we also got Alex Tripp's. Alex Tripp did a little head sketch for me, and he signed it as well, which is awesome. Some of the other signatures in here are people like Antonio Lemos, one of my favorites, Jeremy McPherson, Chewy Chan, Jamie Johnson, Jason Paulos, Shane Foley, Grange, Paul Mason from 2019, and the Sunday Phantom artist when he visited in 2019, Jeff Weigel. We also have Duncan Monroe, Camilo, Chris Seguera. Obviously, this year's one is Alex Tripp and Lauren Marshall, and then we also have Nicola Scott and Julie Dietrich. And then we also, to top that all off, a couple of years ago, I got Jamie Johnson, one of my all-time favourite Phantom artists, to just do a little sketch in the back of the book. And it says, Happy Phantom Caving. And as always, on that note, happy Phantom Caving. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to me talk about the stuff that I bought at Supernova last week. And as I will say this again, we will be in the coming week, we will be having a look at the full saga, the current issues up until now. We will be having a look at the full saga of the Phantom. The 22nd Phantom saga is coming to Phantom Cave Reviews, and that will be, those comic book reviews will be live on the channel. It's going to be live on the channel, so if you're going to be here for the review of this mad, this insane, this all-almighty comic book review and this all-almighty story saga, then stay tuned for that. And I'm hoping to review all these comics, because there's a fair few of them, next week. I'm hoping to review them next week. Thank you, Daniski. And yeah, I've been working on that book for a good couple of years, and it's awesome. Yeah, so thank you, Daninsky, for your comment, and as always, keep Phantom Caving. If you have any questions about anything you would like to discuss, then you can comment those questions down below, and as always, keep Phantom Caving. I will be back with a live stream, a live review of, as I said, the 22nd Phantom saga, possibly next week, because I've read all the saga, I've read all the current issues up until now. Until then, stay tuned. a Mandrake the Magician issue review is coming very, very soon, and heaps more to Phantom K reviews. As always, stay tuned and keep Phantom K.